The biggest change that's taken place in the city's history over the last 50 years clearly has been the loss of probably 200 to 300,000 manufacturing jobs. That really started in the late 1970s and got really bad in the 1980s. But to give you a sense of how difficult that transition has been, in 1950, the city of Pittsburgh's population was almost 675,000 people. Today, in 2015, the population of the city of Pittsburgh is roughly 310,000. So we have lost over half of our residents over the last 50 years. So the big challenge that the city as a whole is facing is trying to stem that tide of population loss. And one way that city leaders feel they can do that is through economic development, right? Trying to create new industries to replace the loss of the steel industry. They feel, and a lot of people feel, that they've been most successful with technology fields, with education, with medicine, those sorts of things. They've created a lot of new jobs that have replaced some of the steel jobs. But the big problem locally is that the communities that lost the steel jobs are not benefiting necessarily from this new economy that has developed. And so Hazelwood is one of these sort of working class communities that's its identity was tied into the steel industry for many years, and it has not benefited from the change in Pittsburgh's economy the way other city neighborhoods have. Because of Pittsburgh's economy, we have these enormous steel mills that take up, dozens of acres of space. When they close and then they get torn down, you have these enormous sites that have been redeveloped. And so there's actually already kind of examples across the city of other redevelopment projects that have happened. A really obvious one is, you guys have probably all been to the Waterfront, right, in Homestead before, maybe gone to see a movie there or go to shopping there or whatever. That used to be the home of the Homestead Works, one of the largest steel mills in the country. It employed 8,000 to 10,000 people for many years. When it closed in the 1980s, the city, or not the city because it's not inside the city of Pittsburgh, but developers came in, tore down the steel mill, and built the Waterfront. The Waterfront does employ a lot of people, but the kinds of jobs that exist in the Waterfront are not the same as the jobs that were in the steel industry as before. So if you're talking about a middle-class wage working for the Homestead Works, now you're talking about somebody who works as a cashier at Target or a waitress at P.F. Chang's or something, right? The pay in those jobs just isn't the same. So the kinds of jobs that have been replaced at the Waterfront are not necessarily like family-sustaining middle-class kinds of jobs. So on one hand, it's nice that that area was redeveloped. On the other hand, it isn't necessarily all that great for the economy of the Mon Valley. And then the other part, in terms of planning of the Waterfront, is it's right along the river, and you have the old city of Homestead further inland. And the Waterfront and Homestead are segregated from each other geographically. There's a major kind of big railroad that goes in between them. And if you live in Homestead and you are trying to walk to the Waterfront, it's very difficult to do that. So they did not do a good job of integrating, physically I'm talking about integrating, the Waterfront development with the rest of Homestead, right? So when you look at Almono, it's the same kind of geographical situation. You have the river here, the Almono site right here, and then Hazelwood further inland. They need to avoid that mistake. If they build all this new stuff at Almono and the residents of Hazelwood can't access it easily, you're going to kind of fall into the same trap that I think, make the same mistake that perhaps they made at the Waterfront. But this is your chance with this redevelopment to think about like the things that your neighborhood has lacked, right? It could be jobs, it could be a quality grocery store. This is your chance to kind of let your voices be heard and say like, look, like we're the people who live here, so it's going to impact us the most.